I believe
Okay.
that given this fact, given this result of verification, it only shows na fictitious ang 1,332 names representing beneficiaries of OVP Confidential Fund.
Okay.
I believe it is more than 200 million pesos. It is actually alleged in our complaint, no? But I could not remember the exact amount, but I recall that it is more than 200 million pesos.
Okay.
Enzorecto, kalaban ang katiwalian at kasinungalingan, kakampi sa katotohanan at kabutihan.
Mabigat ang mga ebidensya ang sasalubong ngayon kay Sara Duterte pag umuwi na siya galing sa The Hague. Dahil po mga kabunyog, mayroon pa raw na 1,300 na pangalan na invalid or peke, ayon sa pagsasaliksik ng PSI. At sabi ni Congresswoman Luistro, isa sa magiging prosecutor ni Sara sa darating na impeachment nito. Umabot na raw sa 200 million pesos mahigit ang pera na nakuha sa confidential funds at hindi alam kung saan napunta. Grabe mga kabunyog, dito pa lang sa mga ebidensyang ito. Hindi na kailangan ng trial, malinaw na pagnanakaw na ito sa kaban ng ating bayan. Anyway, para po sa iba pang mga sinabi ni Congresswoman Luistro, panoorin po natin ito.
Okay. Pag-usapan po natin itong mga lumalabas po na additional evidence against the Vice President. Can you walk us through dito po sa mga panibagong quote-unquote dubious names na na-discover ng mga kongresista bilang nakatanggap daw po di umano ng bahagi ng confidential funds ng Vice President?
Alright, ang recent discovery ng prosecution panel with respect to the dubious names ng mga recipient ng OVP Confidential Fund yung tinatawag nating grocery gang, no? Why grocery? Kasi mukhang grocery yung pangalan. That includes Beverly Pampano, Miko Harina, Sala Kasim, Patty Ting, and Ralph Josh Bacon. And of course, ito, Christian, are in addition dun sa mga previously discovered dubious names natin. Nag-umpisa to kay Mary Grace Piatos, kay Yoyoy Villamin, nasundan ng Pia Piatos Lim, Renan Piatos, Xiaomi Ortega, at meron pa tayong Jong De Asim, Feman Ambay, at itong isa nakakatawa, Amoy Leo.
Amoy Leo. Okay.
Oo.
Nung nakita ko po yung mga pangalan na yan sa media reports, inisip ko, no, bigyan ko kaya ng benefit of the doubt. Hindi kaya mga code names yan. And if so, is that even allowed when it comes to the payment coming from, in terms of making payments using confidential funds?
We have to understand, Christian, na mayroong Joint Circular 2015-01. This is intended to regulate the use of both confidential and intelligence fund, and it does include the guidelines for the accounting and the auditing.
Hindi. Nadinig po namin yung dubious names. Ang magsimula po tayo dun sa tanong ko, yung hindi kaya mga ito, code names. At kung code names yan, allowed ba yan? And then you were explaining the Memorandum Circular 2015-01.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the answer to your question, use of code name is not allowed. Because I was saying earlier, no? The Joint Circular 2015-01 is a response to the mandate of the Constitution that the COA promulgate rules on accounting and auditing with respect to the use of confidential and intelligence fund. This is made up of several pages, and if you will examine carefully, this joint circular, nowhere will you see that it is allowed to use code name or aliases, even if
Mm.
the intention is to conceal the real identity of the recipients of confidential fund, no? I wish
Okay.
to emphasize also, Christian, may provision dito na yung acknowledgement receipt has to be kept inside a sealed envelope
Mm.
and has to be put inside the vault by the special disbursing officer. That is consistent with the confidential nature of the fund, no? Pero just to give the other party the benefit of the doubt, if they will be claiming later on na ito'y code names or aliases, para ano pa kaya, Christian, na ipinalagay sa sealed envelope, ipinalagay sa vault, kung ito naman pala yung mga code names. And if we
Mm.
will look back dun sa ating naging investigation ng good government, no? Wala naman silang naging representation at all that these dubious names represent code or aliases of the real recipients of the OVP Confidential Fund.
Mm. Okay. Ang next question po, bakit nakalusot sa COA yung mga ganyang pangalan po?
That is actually my question also to COA, no? And surprisingly, ang sagot sa atin ng resource person ng COA from ICFAO, Intelligence and Confidential Fund Audit Unit. Ang ginagamit daw nila, checklist lang. May financial plan ba? Check. May acknowledgement receipt ba? Check. May certification ba? Check. May accomplishment report ba? Check. Anything deeper than that, walang verification na nangyari. So, it is no surprise that we were able to discover these names, dubious names, which, upon checking with the PSA, do not appear in the database. I wish to add, Cristiano, kasi nagpagawa tayo ng rundown sa OVP Confidential Fund sa PSA. Out of 1,992 recipients of OVP Confidential Fund, 1,332 ang walang birth certificate. Wala sa database ng PSA. In other words, Christian, it is only around 670 na may possible match doon sa database ng PSA. I will repeat, Christian. Out of 1,992 recipients of OVP Confidential Fund, 1,332 ang wala sa PSA database, which means wala silang birth certificate. I believe
Okay.
that given this fact, given this result of verification, it only shows na fictitious ang 1,332 names representing beneficiaries of OVP Confidential Fund.
Okay. Pag pinagsama-sama po yung confidential funds na natanggap nitong 1,332 dubious recipients, magkano po yung pinag-uusapan natin?
I believe it is more than 200 million pesos. It is actually alleged in our complaint, no? But I could not remember the exact amount, but I recall that it is more than 200 million pesos.
Bunyog, bunyog, halikan na kasama ka. Bunyog, kapag buklod ay may pag-asa. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, isa ang pananaw. Sa bagong Pilipinas ang bunyog isisigaw. Bunyog.